Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, should medical providers be required to post direct pay prices for common medical procedures? We'll hear from both sides of the issue. And should Phoenix move to partially repeal the city's food tax? We'll ask Mayor Greg Stanton, who joins us for his monthly visit. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Republican State Senator Al Melvin of Tucson is forming an exploratory committee for a possible run for governor. Melvin joins what promises to be a crowded race on the Republican side. Former Tempe Mayor Hugh Hallman has already announced his candidacy. Others likely to run include Secretary of State Ken Bennett, Mesa Mayor Scott Smith, and State Treasurer Doug Ducey. And former Arizona Congressman Jim Colby wants immigration reform expanded to include foreign-born partners of gay Americans. Colby, who is openly gay, has a partner from Panama who had to leave the U.S. after his work visa expired. Colby's partner was able to return on a special visa for immigrants that invest in a business here. Now, legislation separate from comprehensive immigration reform has been introduced to allow foreign-born gay partners to be brought into the U.S. Well, Governor Brewer recently vetoed a bill that would have required medical providers to list direct pay prices for common procedures. That bill has been revived with changes aimed at the governor's veto language. Here to talk about the bill is its sponsor, State Senator Nancy Bartow. And speaking against the measure is Pete Wortham, Vice President of Strategic Communications for the Arizona Hospital and Healthcare Association. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's start with, what exactly does this legislation do?
Well, healthcare is the only arena in which when people are purchasing a healthcare service, they have no idea what it's going to cost them. So basically what it will do is ensure that people that are paying directly or cash without a third party can get that healthcare price, that cash price for the service that they're seeking.
Why is that a bad idea?
The Arizona Hospital and Healthcare Association and Arizona Hospitals, we do support pricing transparency. The idea sounds good, but transparent means it's real and distinct to the consumer. We just want to make sure if we're going to impose another very large mandate on a very heavily regulated industry, that the consumer who's getting that information is going to get the best information possible.
Is it difficult to get the best information possible?
It is difficult. When you have, every patient is different. Their clinical presentation varies, so the cost may vary. They also have different payer sources, Medicaid, Medicare, different types of health plans, and then some have no ability to pay. So there are a lot of variance that has to be accounted for to come up with one single price, which we appreciate the goal, and I think we support that effort. We just need to come to terms on how to get there.
What about the variables when it comes to pricing? I mean, can that be pinned down to where you have a sheet of paper and here's what you got to charge?
Sure. I mean, we do it every day with everything else that people purchase, and healthcare should be no different. I mean, think about it. Healthcare really is changing, and now people didn't used to be able to care. When someone else is paying for your gallbladder surgery, whether it cost you $35,000 at one hospital and maybe half as much at another, but now more and more people are paying themselves for healthcare services for a variety of reasons. Number one, a lot more people are uninsured, or they have medical savings accounts where they have a pretty high deductible, sometimes $10,000, $12,000, and so they need to know how best to spend their own money.
What I want to understand is that when you look at a hospital, even within the hospital, the same procedure doesn't necessarily have standard pricing. How do you get from there to a checklist or a price list, if you will?
Well, we're talking about two different things. We're talking about the cost of health care. We're just asking hospitals, healthcare providers to go through the iterative process of finding out, what does it cost? What does it cost? Now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to increase for, let's say, a basic surgery or an OB situation, for instance, that if there are complications, that cost won't rise. But what's the basic cost if you're paying directly for cash on your own dime?
Why not include a standard price and take it from there?
Well, it'd be nice to, it sounds simple, but the problem is if you're going to give somebody a price, you'd like to have it be close to that actual price when they ultimately receive the bill. A 150-pound patient versus a 400-pound patient getting an appendectomy, for example, the variance is going to be huge. The amount of anesthesia involved, the complications of the surgery. So to put a single price on a procedure may not help the consumer at all. So we advise consumers, talk to the physician, check out your clinical circumstances, and try to work that price out up front. That's the best way to do it.
Can there be a price, and almost like buying a car, if you will, docking fees and all this other, can there be a price that you say, well, it looks like that's lower, you find out later it may be different, but at least you've got something to go on, somewhere to hang your hat on?
There's ways to get you in the ballpark, but the other problem with the legislation is it's requiring every hospital to provide 50 of the most common inpatient and outpatient procedures. Hospitals are not identical, so these procedures may not be the kind of procedures that a consumer even has the luxury to shop for. Looking at a level 1 trauma center, you're going to read about heart conditions, seizures, neurosurgery. That price menu is not going to be helpful when you look at it to another hospital. So the question is this helpful to the consumer if they can't compare common procedures that consumers typically have the luxury to shop for, comparing one hospital to the next?
Please respond.
Well, I'm baffled that people even oppose price transparency at any level. Consumers are smart enough to figure it out. What they want, they'll ask the question. And if we just open the door for hospitals and healthcare providers to start with their most commonly provided procedures, the consumers will take it from there, and then the free market will fill the gap.
Well, I think that's an important point, the free market. I think we need to come up with those solutions as an industry and keep working at providing that. But to put a unfunded mandate in statute of this type on an industry, we're not convinced that this is going to be ultimately helpful to the consumer.
What we're trying to do, Pete,
we need something that's evolving. We can be progressive. Certainly with the Affordable Care Act, there's hundreds and thousands of new regulations. Payments are being changed to hospitals. So let's make sure we have something that's going to be ongoing, worth our time and energy to put together all these lists.
What we're trying to do with Senate Bill 1115 now, a House bill, since we did amend it onto another bill and making the changes the governor wants, what we're trying to do is create a free market in the healthcare industry, and people need transparent prices for that to happen. So that we're just cracking open the door a little bit in order to get there.
Does it worry you or bother you at all that some see this legislation as ignoring industry concerns? The industry doesn't want this, doesn't like this. Does that impact your decision-making process at all?
Well, we're certainly open to making sure that we're listening to the industry and working with them, and I think that's part of what the veto was all about, was making sure that we address some of the practicalities. I think it was a fine bill going up to her, but the governor did have some good ideas. I think we're going to get a better bill out of it. But we've had a lot of input since we've proposed this idea. Across the country, people are acknowledging that transparent pricing in healthcare is absolutely what people need in order to make sure that the dollars that they're spending, they can spend wisely. I mean, we have people now that are very concerned about healthcare. I mean, they can't afford insurance. The cost of insurance is going up 8, 9, 10% a year. Their hours are being cut back. We heard last week the Maricopa Community Colleges are cutting back hours in order to comply with Obamacare. Those people are going to be uninsured. They need to make sure that they're spending their health care dollars wisely.
Something that helps folks manage health care needs. Doesn't this do that?
I would say if it doesn't provide meaningful information to the consumer, I think it falls short. I believe we can resolve these differences that we've talked about today, but before we embark on the hours it takes to produce something for the consumer, let's take a step back and make sure this is actually something that consumers will use and it will be helpful to them. I think we can get to that goal. Right now, the way the bill is constructed, we don't want to go through all the effort to put this together and then not see patients using this tool. So.
All right.
It's certainly going to pay off.
All right. It's good to have you both here. Good
Thank
discussion.
you.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton stops by the Arizona Horizon studios each month to discuss issues of importance to the state's largest city. And tonight we address a number of issues, including community budget hearings and a new proposal to reduce the city's food tax. Here now is Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Happy to be here.
With these community hearings on the budget, what are we talking about here?
Well, the City of Phoenix is hyper transparent when it comes to our proposed budget. Every year, city manager proposes a budget for the city, and then we, as the elected officials, take that show on the road. We don't do late night presentations of budgets and votes the next day like some other governmental entities do. We spend a month and a half on the road. So we do 20 budget hearings. I personally have been to 7 or 8 of them. As soon as I leave here, I'm heading to one in the West Phoenix as well. We do a live online budget hearing tomorrow night on Channel 11 at the City of Phoenix. We really, really want to hear from the public as to what they think about the proposed budget, and we will take that into consideration and ultimately change the proposed budget based upon what we hear at these budget hearings.
What are you hearing?
Support for biking in Phoenix. Believe it or not, the group that has showed up the most are people that want to see the city become more bikeable, people that support parks and arts and libraries. These are well-organized groups that care passionately about the future of the city. After-school programs come up regularly. People need to see more and more after-school programs, particularly in these tough budget times. Those after-school programs, when done right and well, really enhance the academic experience of our children, and so they are very, very popular. So as you would expect, it's people who come to these hearings that really like the programs that the city provide, believe in those programs, and hopefully that a budget, as it improves, that we are able to provide more of those programs to the people of Phoenix.
Do they understand the limitations of the budget as it is and as it pertains to these kinds of requests?
Sure. I mean, in fact, as you know, the budget this year is essentially a break-even budget. There are some increases, small increases, for things like arts and after-school programs. We're actually, for the first time in many years, going to be hiring new police officers under this proposed budget. But it's about $5 million in new programs on a budget of about $1 billion. So it is essentially a break-even budget. Obviously, I wish we were much further along economically, that our revenues were higher. We still have some budget challenges, and we need to be cognizant of those budget challenges. And I think most people, there's a long-term trust that builds up between the city and the residents of the city. And I certainly have inherited that trust as mayor of this city. And so when we say it's a break-even budget, we can't do more, I think people are generally understanding of the situation.
There's a move afoot by a couple of council members, Michael Nowakowski, Thelda Williams, regarding a partial repeal of the food tax. What are they talking about? How viable is such an idea?
Sure. Well, at the beginning of this budget cycle, of course, I asked the city manager to present a budget with the food tax and without the food tax, because it's important. I think most people would agree in the city that they want to eliminate the food tax, but they don't want to do it in a way that would hurt our core mission, public safety, or our core services, or negatively impact our budget rating. There are some members of my council, of course, who want to get rid of the food tax tomorrow, regardless of the circumstances, even if it would require almost 100 police officers by being laid off. That doesn't represent the majority of the council. What Councilman Nowakowski and Councilwoman Williams has asked for is to see if we could eliminate half the food tax on January 1st of 2014, but only if we can do it in a way that doesn't impact police, fire, or core community services. I think the majority of the council actually very much agree with that sentiment, that we should always be kicking the tires. We want to get rid of the food tax, but we want to do it in the most responsible way. If we can, if the budget improves over the next 8 months and we can reduce the food tax in a way that does it so that we don't hurt public safety or core services, we ought to be open-minded to that.
Councilwoman Williams says that she thinks you can find $25 million or so to cover the lost revenue and that police and fire and community service won't get hit. Again, is that realistic?
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's the honest truth. And by the way, they wanted implementation of the reduced food tax to start January 1st of 2014, not immediately, which means that instead of a $25 million hit on our budget, it would be about a $12 million hit on our budget. And my position is, if we can do that responsibly in a way that doesn't impact public safety, if we can do it in a way that doesn't negatively impact our core services, and we can protect our credit rating, because that's important that we don't engage in budget tricks. As long as I've been in elected office in the city of Phoenix, we are a very fiscally conservative city. We've maintained our AAA credit rating. We don't want to do anything that would put that AAA credit rating at risk. But if we can accomplish that, of course we should be looking at ways to reduce the food tax.
How much has this issue divided the city? How much has it divided the council?
Well, we're in the business of making tough decisions. And so, yes, the food tax is a high-profile issue. It tends to make the front page of the paper on a regular basis. But, Ted, we deal with tough issues all the time at the City of Phoenix. We pass an access to care ordinance to provide health care, Medicaid, just like they're looking to do at the state. We did it at the city on a 6-3 vote. And guess what? I don't mind division on my council. In fact, I want my council members to lead with what they think is in the best interest of the city. As long as they're acting in good faith, I don't mind division on the council. And I think good, solid division where we debate issues in a healthy way is healthy for the city of Phoenix.
Is it a healthy division right now on this issue?
Oh, yeah, I don't mind people speaking their mind and saying what they believe in. And I work closely with all of my members. I treat everyone professionally, and I want and expect everyone to present what they believe is in the best interest of the city. And I think if you talk to every member of the council, you'll find that that is the way I operate as mayor. Division per se is not a bad thing. Negativity for the sake of negativity is not healthy for the city of Phoenix. But no, healthy division on a tough issue is not a problem as long as we're all professional and move forward in good faith.
The state Senate's looking at, actually has okayed a gun buyback bill. I believe it got through the House as well. This would be a bill that requires cities to sell guns from gun buyback programs, not destroy them. They say destroying them is a waste of money, it's a waste of time, et cetera, et cetera. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't think that's good public policy. I actually think that law enforcement should make that decision, local law enforcement. And so I think that anytime our friends at the legislature try to pass laws which take away local control, take away local decision making, particularly in the area of public safety, I really think that public safety decision making should be left in the hands of our police chief and the leadership of the Phoenix Police Department. We don't want to substitute a political agenda for a true law enforcement agenda. So I actually defer and believe that law enforcement decisions are best made at the local level.
How would this, let's say this gets through, let's say it gets signed, how would it impact Phoenix and gun buyback programs in your city?
Okay, so I'm proposing a gun buyback program for the city of Phoenix, but this bill would have no impact on the program that I'm proposing, because it is privately funded and the money from our donor is going directly to Arizonans for Gun Safety. They'll be the one that actually is the entity that is the receiver of the money and make the decision as to the disposition of the weapons. Obviously, our friends at the legislature have been strong proponents of private property rights, and I know that they would not want to violate people's private property rights by telling them how to dispose of their personal private property. City of Phoenix will be partnering with Arizonans for Gun Safety because as weapons get handed in, we want to see if the weapon's been stolen so it can get in the hands of the rightful owner, or we want to see if a weapon's been used in a crime so we can help solve that crime. It's what we owe victims of crime. And so City of Phoenix does have an important role to play in the gun buyback, but it's important to note that this is a private nonprofit gun buyback.
And this is Saturday, happening Saturday, correct?
No, it starts the first Saturday in May.
It's first Saturday in May.
Yeah,
all right.
And it'll happen at churches in South Phoenix, Sunny Slope, and in West Phoenix. And we have a great team that is putting this together, and we'll obviously watch the news. There'll be a lot more details about it, but I expect it's going to be a huge, huge success.
A couple of issues real quickly here. The Bisbee Civil Union's actions. What are your thoughts on what happened in Bisbee, what the Attorney General has said and has done, what Bisbee wound up doing, and what Phoenix has done?
Well, I actually think it's much ado about nothing what Bisbee did, and that's why when the Attorney General threatened that lawsuit against Bisbee, I thought it was fairly heavy-handed, and I stood up and said, if you're going to sue Bisbee, you might as well sue the City of Phoenix, because while they called their civil union, the City of Phoenix for years has had a domestic partner registry, which is used for a variety of sources, including allowing couples, gay and lesbian couples, to have hospital visitation rights in the City of Phoenix. It allows companies who want to provide domestic partner benefits for their employees to use that as a legal basis to do so if a couple is registered on our registry. And so my thought was, if you're going to pick on Bisbee, you might as well pick on the City of Phoenix. And look, people are reasonable. Bisbee was trying to make a statement about their support for the gay and lesbian residents of their community. I've tried to be very supportive of gay and lesbian residents of the City of Phoenix. We don't need heavy-handed threats of lawsuits. We need to really work together to be more supportive of the people of our communities, and that's why I stood up and spoke on that issue.
The Attorney General, though, said that basically you can't grant community property and inheritance rights the way Bisbee did. Phoenix didn't do that. Bisbee did. That's how Bisbee overstepped its bounds. Valid?
Well, if you read the actual ordinance that Bisbee had passed, it said it's only limited to rights that can be granted by the city. Now, they may have listed some possible additions that they shouldn't have done, but why don't you call up the city attorney and say, hey, there's a few issues here. I think it's fairly patently obvious what was actually going on, and threats of lawsuits are very heavy-handed and are meant for front page news. And it's unfortunate. We need to be more supportive of, again, all of the diverse communities within our cities, and including our gay and lesbian members of our citizenry, and I thought Bisbee did the right thing in sending that message.
Last question. It sounds like the Goldwater Institute is targeting the town of Gilbert over some city-run operations here. What are your thoughts there? Because everything from libraries to swimming pools, the whole 9 yards could be affected here.
Yes, I have no idea what Goldwater is thinking. I've spoken directly with Mayor John Lewis of Gilbert about this, saying Phoenix and I, as mayor, stand with you. We're trying to organize all the mayors to get out there and do a little workout at that facility and send a message that good community services, including recreation services, is part and parcel of what cities do. We provide services for the people of our cities. And for the Goldwater Institute to threaten a lawsuit against Gilbert for simply providing recreation services, I think most people are going to be angry about that. I'm certainly angry about it because this, again, as you just said, threatens so many core services that cities provide. And I think our friends at Goldwater may have overplayed their hand on this particular threatened lawsuit.
But is there not a case to be made for someone who runs a gym, someone who runs a bookstore, and they're looking at the library saying, what am I doing running a bookstore because what am I doing running a gym because we got this recreation center? Is there a case to be made that it's not fair to those businesses?
No. If libraries are a threat in our society, a threat to anyone, man, we are in trouble. Libraries are so important for our young people, giving them an opportunity to read so many books that they otherwise wouldn't be able to read, providing reading programs for our kids, community rec centers, providing maybe an opportunity for people in a very cost-effective way who have diabetes or other conditions where they need exercise. Let's be honest, it's very different than the services provided at the private workout facilities. I respect those folks, but let's get our priorities straight. Providing library services, recreation services, that's what cities do. That's why we exist. And
speaking of priorities, ASU baseball going to be playing at Phoenix Muni. Can you go ahead and break that one right now?
Well, absolutely. We have reached an agreement with our friends at ASU. ASU baseball is an awesome institution in our community, literally championship level baseball. They're one of the top programs in the entire country, and I, as mayor, am super excited that Phoenix Muni will now be the home of ASU baseball. We got to get it all worked out because they're going to play a couple more seasons at Packard,
sure.
But we are preparing for that transition, so you will see the ASU name all over Phoenix Muni, where I used to watch Phoenix Giants games as a kid.
No kid. Good to have you, Mayor. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Expand your horizon with the Arizona Horizon website. To get there, go to azpbs.org Click on the Arizona Horizon tab at the top of the screen. Once there, you can access many features, watch interviews by clicking on the video button. You can also find out what's on Arizona Horizon for the coming week. If you would like an RSS feed, a podcast, or want to buy a video, that's all on the website too. Want to learn about specific topics like immigration or the legislature? You can visit our special web sections. Show your support for Arizona Horizon at azpbs.org/Arizona Horizon.
Tomorrow on Arizona Horizon, famed physicist Lawrence Krauss will talk about the latest news in science, including images that could lead to fresh information on the Big Bang, and meet the new head of ASU's Global Institute of Sustainability. That's Tuesday evening, 5:30 and 10 on Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.